Have you ever looked out the window on a quiet morning, coffee in hand, and wondered why peace still feels like something you're chasing instead of something you're living? Maybe the kids are grown, the calendar's less full, and yet, there's still that little weight sitting quietly on your chest. A memory, a worry, a regret, something you can't quite name but it lingers. If that sounds familiar, you're not alone. Turning 70 and beyond brings a lot of change. Some of it is beautiful. Slower mornings, time for reflection, maybe a grandchild's laugh echoing down the hallway. But there's also the emotional clutter we carry, the stuff that builds up over the years. And here's the truth. To really feel at peace, to truly enjoy the freedom that comes with this stage of life, some of that stuff has to go. That's what this conversation is about. 6 things it might be time to gently, lovingly let go of. Not because they weren't important, but because peace deserves space to breathe. And you deserve peace more than ever. Let's start with the first one. It's a tough one, but also the most powerful. Let go of the need to please everyone. For years, maybe even decades, you've probably worn so many hats. Mother, father, spouse, caretaker, neighbor, volunteer, mentor. Always trying to make sure everyone else is okay. That the dinner was right. The birthday card arrived on time. That you didn't say the wrong thing. It becomes second nature, doesn't it? Putting others first. Avoiding conflict. Making sure people liked you, or at least didn't think poorly of you. But here's the thing. Not everyone will understand you. Not everyone will agree with your choices. And some people, they'll never be satisfied no matter how much you give. That's their burden to carry, not yours. You've done your part. You've shown up, cared deeply, loved hard. At 70, you've earned the right to speak freely, to rest when you're tired, to say no without guilt and yes, only when you truly mean it. When you stop trying to please everyone, something amazing happens. You begin to rediscover who you are, what you want, and you start living from a place of authenticity instead of expectation. The people who matter won't be offended by your truth, and the ones who are, well, they were never really seeing you clearly to begin with. Peace comes when you stop editing yourself to keep others comfortable. Now, let's talk about something a little more hidden, something many of us carry in silence. It's time to let go of old regrets. We all have them. The job we didn't take, the apology we never made, the words we did say in anger or fear, the relationship that slipped through our fingers. Maybe you look back and think, if I had just done it differently, and those thoughts can spiral, can't they? They sit quietly at the back of the mind like ghosts, whispering what if, and if only. But here's a thought that might change things. The person you were back then did the best they could with what they knew. You were learning, growing, surviving. And yes, maybe some things didn't go the way you hoped, but carrying regret doesn't fix the past. It only steals your peace in the present. Every moment of your life has led to this one. Right here, right now. The wisdom you carry, the strength you've built, the perspective you offer, it all came from the journey, every detour, every wrong turn, every heartbreak. There's no peace in punishment, but there is peace in acceptance. So if there's something you're still holding on to, a mistake, a missed chance, maybe today is the day to forgive yourself. Write a letter you never sent. Speak out loud what you wish you'd said. Then release it, not because it didn't matter, but because your peace matters more now. And speaking of holding on, there's one more thing we need to talk about today. This one's sneaky. It hides behind stories, and that's just how it is, and sometimes even pride. Let go of outdated identities. You see, for most of our lives, we define ourselves by what we do or who we're connected to. I'm a teacher. I'm a mother. I'm the one everyone leans on. And that's fine. Those roles gave us purpose, direction. But after 70, some of those roles start to shift. You might be retired. The kids don't need you like they once did. The phone doesn't ring as often. And suddenly you might wonder, who am I now? It can feel unsettling, like you're standing on unfamiliar ground. But here's a gentle reminder, you're not losing yourself. You're just evolving. This is your chance to rediscover who you are beyond the titles. Maybe you've always wanted to paint. Maybe you used to love music but set it aside when life got busy. Maybe you're realizing you enjoy solitude more than you ever admitted. That's not selfish. That's truth. And truth is where peace begins. You are allowed to become someone new. To redefine what matters. to be more than who you were. That doesn't mean forgetting the past. It means not letting it trap you in an identity that no longer fits. Peace comes when you stop forcing yourself into old shapes and start embracing who you've become, and who you're still becoming. Because even now your story isn't over. Not by a long shot. So let's sit with that for a moment. You've spent a lifetime showing up for others, shouldering regrets, and wearing titles like armor. What might it feel like to slowly set those things down? To lighten your load, not because you're giving up, but because you're finally coming home to yourself? You don't have to figure it all out today. But just opening the door to this kind of peace, that's a beautiful beginning. Now that we've explored the need to let go of people-pleasing, regrets, and outdated identities, let's keep moving. There are still a few more things we often carry unknowingly, things that keep peace just out of reach. So, let's gently keep walking together on this path to a lighter, freer life. And sometimes we hold on to things not because they still serve us, but because they've just been there so long, we don't know what it feels like without them. Like an old chair that's lost its cushion, but we still sit in it every day because it's familiar. That's the tricky part about moving forward after 70. It's not always about doing more. Sometimes it's about doing less, carrying less, releasing what no longer fits this season of your life. Now let's talk about something that quietly eats away at so much peace, often without us realizing it: comparison. It's such a sneaky little habit. It shows up when you least expect it. Maybe you see someone your age traveling the world, while you're managing joint pain and wondering if you'll even get around the grocery store without your knees giving you grief. Or perhaps your neighbor seems to have her whole family visit every weekend, and you're sitting at home wondering if your kids even remember your phone number. It's easy to look sideways and think, am I doing enough? Have I missed something? But here's the truth: comparison is a thief. It doesn't just steal joy, it robs you of your own unique journey. The problem with comparing ourselves to others is that we rarely see the full picture. We see the highlight reel, the vacations, the smiling family photos, the perfectly kept garden, but not the lonely nights, the health struggles, the quiet tears. Your life has its own beauty. Your path has its own rhythm. Just because it doesn't look like someone else's doesn't mean it's lacking. Maybe instead of travel, your gift is wisdom you share with your grandkids. Maybe you don't get family visits every weekend, but the neighbor's dog comes running to greet you every morning. These small joys? They matter. They're yours. And you don't need to trade them in for someone else's story. When you let go of comparison, something amazing happens. You start to see your life clearly again. You recognize the little victories, the quiet blessings. You feel gratitude rise where insecurity once lived. And suddenly, peace isn't some distant thing. It's right there in your own home, your own body, your own day. And speaking of gratitude, there's another heavy thing we sometimes carry even without realizing it: regret. Now that's a big one, isn't it? After 70, the past can feel louder than ever. Certain choices echo back to us. Maybe things we said and wish we hadn't, or things we didn't say and wish we had. People we lost touch with. Dreams we left behind. Moments that slipped through our fingers. If you've ever sat in a quiet room and heard your mind whisper, "What if I had done it differently?" You're not alone. Every single one of us has a pocket full of moments we wish we could rewrite. But regret is tricky. It makes us believe we're stuck in the past, that we have to keep carrying the burden of our old choices forever. But the truth is, you can honor your past without living in it. You can say, yes, that happened, and I've learned, and I've grown. Life isn't a perfect straight line. It's full of curves and detours, missed turns and surprising shortcuts. Some things you did your best with, and others you simply didn't know better at the time. That's being human. And the beautiful thing about this stage of life? You have wisdom now. You have clarity. You can look back and say, that taught me something. Not to punish yourself, but to free yourself. You can even share those lessons with others, your children, your friends, people you meet at the park. Regret doesn't have to be a prison. It can be a teacher. And once it's taught you what you needed to learn, you can let it go. I once spoke to a woman in her late 80s. She had such a calm presence, like someone who had made peace with every chapter of her life. I asked her what her secret was, and she smiled and said, "I stopped trying to change what already happened. I just focused on changing how I carry it." That stuck with me. Because that's really it, isn't it? We can't rewrite our past, but we can rewrite how we speak to ourselves about it. So, if there's something you've been holding on to, an old guilt, a missed chance, a fractured relationship, give yourself the grace to release it. Write a letter and burn it. Speak the words you never got to say, even if it's just to the wind. Give yourself the closure you deserve. Because peace isn't just about what happens around you. It's about what you choose to release from within. And while we're here, let's gently touch on one more thing: resentment. It's a heavy word, isn't it? And it's an even heavier feeling. Maybe someone hurt you years ago. Maybe they never said sorry. Or maybe they did, but it didn't feel like enough. That sting, whether from family, friends, or even strangers, can sit in our hearts for decades, quietly shaping how we feel, how we connect, how we trust. But the truth is, resentment doesn't punish the person who hurt you. It punishes you. It lives in your body, in your breath, in your chest. It tightens your shoulders and steals your sleep. And over time, it closes the door to joy little by little. Letting go of resentment isn't about saying what happened was okay. It's not about pretending you weren't hurt. It's about choosing not to let that pain define you anymore. It's about reclaiming your peace, your joy, your right to feel light again. Sometimes forgiveness feels impossible, and that's okay. Forgiveness doesn't have to be a single moment. It can be a process, a slow, quiet release, one breath at a time, one choice at a time. You don't even have to tell the other person. Sometimes the most powerful forgiveness happens in silence, when you simply say to yourself, "I'm done carrying this." And oh, how much lighter life feels when you finally put that weight down. So, we've talked about comparison, regret, and resentment, those quiet burdens that can follow us around for years. But here's another one that often goes unnoticed: the need to be in control. Now, don't get me wrong. It's perfectly natural to want things to go a certain way, especially after living through decades of ups and downs. You've seen what happens when plans go off the rails. You've witnessed loss, disappointment, surprise. So of course it feels safer to hold on tight, to want everything and everyone to behave a certain way, predictably, comfortably. But here's the truth: the more we try to control everything, the more we exhaust ourselves. Especially in this stage of life when energy is precious. And the harder we try to steer every little detail, the more we miss the beauty of simply being in the moment. Letting go of control doesn't mean giving up. It means trusting more. Trusting that you've done your best. That the people in your life will find their own way, even if it's not the way you would have chosen. That life has a rhythm even when it doesn't follow your plans. And that sometimes, peace comes not from fixing everything but from accepting it as it is. I once heard someone say, "Let go or be dragged." And wow, how true is that? Life will move forward with or without your permission. So the question becomes, are you going to flow with it or fight against it? One brings peace, the other, just more tension. And while we're on this gentle path of release, there's one final thing I want to share with you. It's one of the hardest and yet one of the most freeing things to let go of. The belief that your best days are behind you. That's a big one. Society loves to sell us this idea that youth equals beauty, adventure, growth. That life somehow shrinks as we age. But let me ask you, who decided that? Who said joy has an expiration date? Your best days aren't in the past. They're in the moments you choose to be fully alive. Right here, right now. In the morning you wake up without pain. In the cup of tea you sip while the sun pours through the window. In the sound of birds outside your home. In the quiet chuckle you share with a friend over a story you've told 100 times but still makes you both laugh. You are still becoming. Still growing. Still capable of new connections, new discoveries, even new dreams. You don't have to run marathons or start a business to have a purpose. Sometimes, your purpose is simply to be a calm presence in a chaotic world. To share your stories. To listen deeply. To pass down love. There is still so much life left in your days. It might look different than it did when you were 40, but different doesn't mean less. It means wiser, softer, freer. You've spent a lifetime gathering lessons, carrying love, walking through fire, and finding your way. And now, in this beautiful chapter, you get to choose what you carry next. Not because the world says so, but because your peace matters. Your joy matters. You matter.